Casper's number one for New Country, My Country 95.5. I am Doc.
And I'm Prairie Wife.
We told you we were going to get a little artsy and up our game here a little bit, but we need the help of Chris Navarro to do that. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Chris, I am so thankful that you took the time to chat with us this morning. You have a brand new book. It is out right now. Is that correct? Art of the Rodeo?
Yeah, it just got released June 10th about, so it's just been out just a few weeks. So it's probably the best book I've done. It's my fourth one. And,
nice. Well, I know your other ones are phenomenal. So for you to say that this is the best, we're definitely going to have to dive more into that. So before we talk about Art of the Rodeo and how that came up, can you talk about your connection with Casper, maybe for some of our listeners that don't know about your bronze sculpture and your connection to rodeo and, like I said, to Casper itself?
Well, yeah, I came to Casper in 1974. I used to rodeo at Casper College. I was my first goal dream was I wanted to be a professional bull rider.
Nice.
Bulls at I rode bulls at Casper College. In fact, rodeo is what brought me to Wyoming. I was 18 years old. My dad was in the military, so we were all over the place. And I graduated high school in Europe, but I used to rodeo over there on the military rodeo circuit.
Really? I didn't even know such a thing existed.
Yeah, and then I came to Texas. My folks are from San Antonio, so I was there, and then I rodeoed all summer in San Antonio, and then I drove all the way up in Casper, Wyoming. I didn't know nobody. I'd never even been to Wyoming before, and I drove all the way from San Antonio, an old car I bought for $250, everything I had in the trunk.
I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that story that are in Wyoming.
Yeah, I showed up, and I just, fell in love with Wyoming, and I made Casper my home, so I've been living here ever since.
So one of the things that fascinates me, Chris, is the fact that you're a self-taught artist.
Well, I'm a self-educated artist. I mean, you learn from everybody else. I don't really use that term too much because there's a great quote by Benjamin Franklin. He said, show me a self-taught man and I'll show you someone who learned from a fool.
All right.
I taught myself radio. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm definitely going to have to file that away. And I can see now why one of the things you do besides art is a speaker, an inspirational speaker. That was some good wisdom right there, sir.
In fact, yeah, I am giving a talk for the Boys and Girls Club over in Du Bois in August. So
oh,
I do
wonderful.
like to go out and spread the word. It's not hard to talk about something you love, so I get to talk about making a living as an artist, and I've been able to do it for 35 years now, so it's been pretty special. And Casper being my hometown, I have more monuments here than probably any place, so I've done like 30. I'm on my 35th monument I'm working on right now.
That's amazing, and I know a lot of them have to do with the rodeo theme. I know you did the Lane Frost one. That's down in Cheyenne, correct?
That's the first public monument I really did. I did that back in 1993. Yeah, I commissioned myself to do that. Cheyenne Frontier Days didn't ask me to do it. I just thought, Lane died doing something he loved. He was only 25. He was a world champ. In fact, there's a whole chapter on him in the book, about how I got started and the idea I had to do this monument for him and kind of his story, which is a phenomenal story because, he got killed in the last performance at Frontier Days in 1989, and his best friend, one of them, was Cody Lambert, the guy who traveled with.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw him lose his life right in front of him. And he developed a protective vest 2 years later that all professional bull riders wear now. And if Lane would have been wearing one, he would have probably lived.
Yeah, he is definitely a legend, and I know his family has gone on to honor him. And this book that you're talking about, The Art of Rodeo, it's actually a collab with two other artists that are from Cheyenne. Can you talk to us just a little bit, let our listeners know? And of course, we've got links through the My Country mobile app so they can purchase the book and check it out, look at some pictures that are in there. But can you tell us how this happened and kind of what you're hoping readers will get from looking at this book?
Well, yeah, I collaborated with a young painter I'm mentoring, Brandon Bailey, and he did some of the oil paintings that are in here that are pretty phenomenal. And then I met Randy Wagner when he helped me photograph my monument. He's been a volunteer down at Frontier Day since 1962. Mm-hmm. Well, he shot thousands of photographs of Frontier Days over the years, and I asked him if he was interested in being in on the book because he has some great image. I mean, he's the one who developed the photo pit that everybody. That's why Cheyenne has such great photos, is because your lens is like 3 inches off the ground. He designed that pit. And his name's Randy Wagner, and he's been in Frontier Days since 1962. He's been a volunteer. Mm-hmm. And he's photographed it, and he has some phenomenal photos that just look great in the book. Yeah,
so it's a collaboration of these three different artists, right? So we've got the paintings, we've got the photography, and then we have your sculptures as well.
Yeah, and I have some drawings in there, and also some of my own photography. I photographed Frontier Days in the rodeo pit. I got some great images too. In fact, then also there's some from the Wyoming State Archives that are over 100 years old that kind of talk about Frontier Days, because I probably viewed over 20,000 images and I picked out 600 of them to put in this book.
Oh my gosh!
It goes all the way back to the history of the beginning of Frontier Days, which was in 1897. And there's a chapter about Steamboat. I did that big monument.
Of course, right?
University of Wyoming, and he's down there at in 1906 and 1907. He was voted, worst bucking horse, which meant he was the best at Cheyenne Frontier Days back then.
This sounds like it was such a labor of love. How long did it take you guys to put this together? And then can you let our listeners know where they can learn more about not just the art of the rodeo, but your artwork as a whole?
Well, I have a website, which is chrisnavarro.com. It's pretty simple. I got a lot of work on there, and Art of Rodeo is completely on there. I mean, I'm trying to make it into a traveling show. In fact, it was supposed to open in Casper, but the college finals were canceled.
Yes.
So I was supposed to be at Art 321, and they canceled the show because of the COVID. And then it's going to open in Worland on August 24th. So that's still a go. So the first showing of it, and then it's supposed to go to Prescott, Arizona, and open at the Phippen Museum in January. So I've put kind of a traveling show with all these images and sculptures.
Well, hopefully we can get you back to Casper and get that rescheduled so we can see it up close. So chrisnavarro.com is where people can learn more about your sculptures. And then, of course, through the My Country mobile app, we also have links. Chris, we've got to get back to playing some music, but thank you so much for taking the time to talk with Doc and I today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I tell you what, I'm proud to be from Wyoming, proud of rodeo, so hopefully we can get everything back on track.
Amen.
All right, well, thank you, Chris. All the details about that, I've somehow tuned in the middle of the interview and check it out in its entirety in the My Country 95.5 mobile app.